everyone and welcome back to my channel, BethChatsBooks. Now today I'm in a different setup. I have tried with different types of lighting and this is the best I'm going to get. I've tried it with the blind open and I have tried with it shut and lights on, lights off, and this is the best I'm going to get. So I've just finished work and I've got my Christmassy jumper on and I thought it might be fun to go through my brand new TBR trolleys. So I bought these from Amazon and if you follow me on Instagram you will see that I ordered them. My dad kindly assembled them. I have no credit for the DIY. But I love them and I'm in the process of trying to get inspiration to decorate them. So they're obviously very plain. I got them, I'll see if I can wheel them in front. So I got you can't really see, it's kind of like a yellowy colour. Like not a mustard yellow, pastel yellow. I'm really sorry, I've got really thick carpet, so moving these is a little bit of work. And then I've got the blue, the pastel-y blue here. I'm kind of sat on a little stool here, so I don't want to pull this too much forward. But I'll move this a little bit nearer so we can have a little bit of a chat. And then this is my bookshelf in the background. I have some little quotes here. I got these a few years back. My auntie bought me them. They're just little nice pictures that you can keep up on your bookshelf, and this one says, "A room without books is like a body without a soul." And I also have one that says, "May your shelves always overflow with books." So I think they're very cute. So I was thinking we can go through some of these and I can show you what's in them because they are definitely not decorated. But I thought we could just have a chatty kind of video. I am testing out this iPad. So I previously have filmed on my iPad mini and I still have that. So if the quality is really bad, I might change again. But I am now using my dad's iPad because he upgraded to a new one. So I thought this might be a little bit better than the iPad mini, which is the second generation. So it's very old. And this is a bit more of a new iPad and it's a large one. So I was just testing out how this works. This is a bit of an ad hoc video. I tend to film here on my bed with the lighting, which is better. It's directly facing the camera, so it's always a little bit clearer. But let's just get into this video. So I've ordered quite a few books, but they're all part of a collection because I was watching a few booktubers recently talk about crime series and everybody mentions these two crime series as amazing and they're still trying to find ones that are just as good. So Jen Campbell and April from Getting Hygge With It are directly responsible for this purchase of the first series, which is the Nikki French Frida Klein series. So I ordered from World of Books the first one, which is Blue Monday, then Tuesday's Gone, then Waiting for Wednesday, then Thursday's Child. Now, so some editions say Thursday's Child and others say Thursday's Children. But I found out it doesn't matter, it's just depending on where they were published. This is obviously a mass market paperback, but I got these all secondhand from World of Books and they were very cheap, so I was happy just to have the collection, so it doesn't matter to me that they don't match, but I know for a lot of people they like all the covers to match, but I'm not that bothered. And then I have Friday on My Mind, Saturday Requiem with the nice £1.49 sticker on that, Sunday Morning Come Down, and the last one is Day of the Dead. I had to look. And this has got that library plastic cover. And I looked at it when they came. This used to belong to the Suffolk Libraries. So I was quite happy to get these secondhand. Everybody's raved about Frida Klein and I wanted to be in on the hype. So I got these. So they are on I'm just going to move them over here so I've got more space here. They're going on a future TBR. I am so behind on book reading. So I will get to them at some point. And then the next series, I'm going to, again, go through quite quickly and not discuss the individual books because I haven't read any of them and it's a lengthy series. And that is the Louise Penny Gamache series. So it's took me a little bit of time to get all of them right up into the newest release, which came out in 2020. Again, some of them are hardbacks, some of them are paperbacks, they're all pre-owned. And I've kind of got some of them from eBay and some of them from World of Books so that I had the full collection. Because I am a weird reader, I cannot even start a series unless I'm guaranteed that I've got all of them. But that rule only applies if all of them are out. So obviously I've got up until 2020. Obviously if she publishes any more, I will probably order them to complete the set. And for example, I read Cormoran Strike's books from the library, but I've bought the very last one so that I could read that. And probably if any more come out in that series, I will buy it. But I just mean if it's a complete set and it's already been published and there's going to be no more coming out, I like to own all of them before I start in case I have an urge to binge. So I will very quickly go through these. So I've got Louise Penny's Still Life. I'm just going to pop them down here. I've got Louise Penny's Dead Cold. I've got Louise Penny's The Cruelest Month. Again, they're all different sizes and shapes. I've got Louise Penny's A Rule Against Murder. I know some of these, again, depending on whether they were published in Canada or in America or the US, they've got slightly different names. So I think this one has a different name depending on where it was published. Then I've got The Brutal Telling, Bury Your Dead, A Trick of the Light, The Beautiful Mystery, How the Light Gets In. Some of these covers are stunning, the landscapes on them. The Long Way Home, The Nature of the Beast, A Great Reckoning, Glass Houses, Kingdom of the Blind, A Better Man, and All the Devils Are Here. So that is all of the Inspector Gamache books that are currently published by Louise Penny. I don't know if there are more in the pipeline. I think a lot of booktubers, Robert over from Barter Hordes, really enjoys Inspector Gamache Louise Penny series, and he seems to suggest that there'll be more of these books coming out. But again, these are on a long-term TBR of when I get round to reading them. Then I also ordered some more books second-hand from World of Books, because these are books, a bit like these two series. I could get the odd one from the library, but not the whole, so I committed to getting these. And with these books, their hold on the library is so lengthy, and they are more history books, these next ones. These are non-fiction, so I wanted to be able to take my time with them and not have to rush to give them back to the library or another service. So the first two are from the same author. So I have A House Through Time by David Olusoga, and I have Black and British by David Olusoga. So I think this is the first one that came out. So this is where David is reimagining the history and incorporating the black narratives that have been missed in the British historical landscape and how we talk about British history. I think the cover is absolutely stunning. He's very well known, David Olusoga, in the UK. He is a historian, a TV presenter, and he is very important, that his representation, what he's discussing. I find he says some really insightful things when I watch him on TV. He was most famous for the TV show A House Through Time, which on the BBC, there was 3 different houses, one in Liverpool, one in Bristol, and I forgot where the other one is, and he basically went through a TV show telling us the history of that house through the different centuries, and I found that fascinating. So I wanted to hold on to this book so that I can really go through those houses. I think he discusses all 3 of them in this book in a bit more detail. This will be the juicy missed bits from the show, but the way he described the lives in the house, the way he is so calm, his voice is very soothing. And I know he's recently done an interview with Barack Obama in regards to Barack Obama's new book coming out, and I think the 2 of them having a conversation is so fascinating, and I really want to go back and find that and see whether I can get my hands on that interview. He's just a very interesting person. I have incredible respect for him, and I really want to read his books and really understand the Black history that we have been neglecting in the UK. I know there's a big conversation around African American rights in the US, but we have a massive way to go in this country. And recently in the UK, we have had a series of films come out called Small Axe films that have focused on Black British identity. One was focused on a Black man who becomes a police officer in the UK and how he suffered racism and how his own family marginalised him for making that decision. We watched one the other night about a Black man who was incarcerated for saying a swear word to a British policeman, and about his journey and the anger and just the poison that he felt inside because of racism that he'd incurred his whole life, from school, from the care system, all the way to adulthood. And he ended up becoming an author. So I looked him up online, and his name was Alex Wheatle, and he's actually published young adult books about the experience of being Black and British. So I'll link his books down below. And also the police officer, I've forgotten the name now off the top of my head, that was a true story. All the Small Axe films are true stories about people's experience being Black and British. I'll link that down below if you want to go and check it out. It was so fantastic. These films are brilliantly done, and these are narratives that we must know about. So I feel really very passionate as a history and English student and a graduate that these are incredibly important. And I've always had a fascination in history about narratives that aren't white, middle-aged. I'm fascinated about Black British and Black American identity. I've really been interested in gender, sexuality, women's rights, homosexuals' rights, and those kind of narratives that aren't really depicted in traditional history. So those things fascinate me and always have done. And then I also ordered, let me see. Yes. Then I also ordered the 2 Elizabeth Wilkerson books because I'm fascinated to see how I'll get on with this author, because all I've heard is amazing things. Her first work of non-fiction was The Warmth of Other Suns, and it's the epic story of America's Great Migration. I think the cover is absolutely stunning. I love these photograph pictures that these historians, these authors put. I just think they tell such an interesting story. Anyway, so I heard so many people rave about this book, particularly a lot of Black booktubers have said this is a really important book. She is so well respected in the booktube community, particularly the Americans, as obviously Isabel Wilkerson is American. And I've always been fascinated in Black African American rights. At school I did about the civil rights, and I feel really connected to that piece of history, and I'm fascinated by it, always love reading it. But I know that Isabel sets her arguments out really clearly. She discusses an epic amount of history, and this is a very hefty paperback. So I know she's going to go through the whole history. I know she'll give a lot of detail, and I'm really excited to take my time with this book. And then I couldn't get that book and not order her newest book, which is Cast, which is The Lies That Divide Us. And this, a lot of people have mentioned, is a really interesting premise for an argument. So she talks about the caste system and how it's always been there. And while we see it predominantly in countries like India, the caste system has been there in American politics and history from the beginning. So it's a very interesting argument. I've heard a few people criticise how she brought the argument together at the end. But I'm fascinated to see her play with that argument, and a lot of people say she's a very competent historian. She gives really interesting points. She argues her points very well. So I'm very excited to get to this one. Then the rest of my trolleys are kind of full with books that are on my radar to read, but I don't want cluttering my bookshelf. So the bookshelf back here has a mixture of read and unread titles. As you can see, I've got Lord of the Rings and it has The Hobbit in it, and that is definitely a further down the line read. And I have Virginia Woolf's collection here. Beautiful hardback that I got excited about and realised it's probably very impractical to read all of her works on it, but it does have all of her works in it. And then things like Paris Trout, Three Women, A Single Thread, Charge, Catch and Kill, Maybe You Need to Talk to Someone, all books I read and enjoyed. So these are some of the overspill. So I still have this book from the library, Joyce Carol Oates's Night, Sleep, Death, the Stars, which I probably will be renewing because I have it till January. I haven't read a single page of it and it is the biggest thing in the world. I'll put it on here for now. I also have Rodham by Curtis Sittenfeld. Again, this is massive. It is actually quite big, nearly 400 pages, but at least the font is easier. It's a fictionalisation of if Hillary Clinton never became Hillary Clinton. Still haven't got round to it. Again, got that till January. I don't know whether I'll need to renew that from the library. I also have Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. Again, just repeating myself. Ridiculously small font. Huge book, over 500 pages. Haven't got to it yet. And the same can be said of these other two, which are still library books, which is Conjure Women by Afia Atakora and Bluebird, Bluebird by Attica Locke. This is the first one in a series, haven't read it. It has had a lot of buzz on BookTube. It's similar to The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, which I also have to read from the library. A lot of people compare it to that and a lot of historical fiction. It says if you are grieving for Toni Morrison on the back, this is a new young writer to read. I don't know that much about it. We'll be getting to it at some point. And then, as no surprise, the last 3 months, and I think it's going to be 4 months now, of the Barter Horde's Backlist Book Club, I have not got around to reading. So, Possession by A.S. Byatt. Now, this got negative reviews from the book club. So I'm not in a rush to get to this one because even Robert himself has said he is very confused how he loved this upon the first read when he finished his course. Read it again this year, did not enjoy it, so we'll see. Then Toni Morrison's Paradise. I really want to read a Toni Morrison, but a lot of people said this isn't her best, and Beloved, or Beloved, however you pronounce it, is her very best work, and so many people have said that's their favourite book of all time. So I don't actually know whether going into this one will ruin me for Toni Morrison or change my expectations, so I might put this off until I read The Bluest Eye or something else, one of her more well-known reads. Is that one. And then the current one I should be reading this month is Brief Lives by Attica Bruckner, and it actually is quite short, but I've taken so many books out of the library, I've taken so many ebooks out of my library app, and then I have also requested a lot of NetGalley books which actually came in as well, so what are you going to do? So eventually I'll get round to this one. Our current read for next month, January, is the short story collection by Amy Bloom, which I might order because I really, really want to read White Houses by Amy Bloom. Again, it's probably going to be on a long-term basis that I'm going to get to that. I am also starting a master's course in January, so how I'm going to fit this reading life, studying and working into all of 2021, I don't know, but I'm going to get there because I cannot ever live without books anymore. I tried at university when I was studying, apart from reading English set texts and books that I had to, I didn't do any recreational reading. And I actually found other ways to procrastinate. So I've given myself a mental note that I want to carry on reading, even if it's going to be a lot slower, to try and keep up my reading, because I think it lifts my mood, it's good for me. And as long as I manage to get all my essays done, I get a little bit of recreational reading in and a little bit of regular exercise, I think that's going to be a more productive plan to stop me burning out. Anyway, that's that. I still have The Dreamers as well, which my mum gave me. I think this is non-fiction. I'll get to it at some point. I'm very briefly just going to tell you what I've got on my app store, my NetGalley and my library app store, and then I'm going to wrap this up because it's a little bit waffly. So Love in a Cold Climate by Nancy Mitford, which is the second book in the Loose Nancy Mitford trilogy that focuses on Fanny as the narrator. I have mentioned the previous book, The Pursuit of Love, previously. That's coming at the library, so I'm going to get to that at some point. I've also taken out All That Remains by Sue Black. I think she's a forensic pathologist. I'm really interested in those kind of things. I have... Yeah, I'll just... squeeze this out. Oh, that's not great. I have When the Dogs Bark, A Forensic Scientist Search for the Truth by Professor Angela Gallup. This is a book that my dad read. This is about a pathologist's story, a non-fiction on some of the big cases that she did in the UK. This kind of thing fascinates me. I'm doing a psychology master's in the new year. I'm really interested in criminology and things like that. So I really wanted to read that. And I kindly got a comment on one of my last videos that was mentioning that if I liked this and I was interested, that Sue Black's books are really great. So thank you for that recommendation. I took you up on your recommendation, and I took out of the library All That Remains by Sue Black. Put this on top of here. I will fix all this later. I also took out Good Morning, Destroyer of Men's Souls by Nina Renita Aaron. And this is a non-fiction, I think it's a collection of essays, memoir-esque, about the author's experience of love, obsession and abuse. I think I'll have to read it, and then in a wrap-up I'll get back to you on that. Because I don't actually know. I got excited the other day and took loads of these books out, and then loads of NetGalley books came in as well. And then I also have The Keeper by Jessica Moore. This is a debut thriller this year, and a lot of people have buzzed about it. I feel like it's just starting to go around. I know on some of the blurbs, the authors have said it's really good. I think Jeanette Winterson has said that this is a debut author to watch. I think that's on the information section when I looked at this book, and I was like, oh, she loves it. I'm on board. I love a thriller, and Jeanette Winterson says it's really clever, so I'm fully here for that. Then I also got Coming Up for Air by Sarah Lipsinka, and this, again, I think is a thriller, but it's historical. I think it's set in a cold country. I can't remember off the top of my head whether it's Iceland or Norway, somewhere like that. But it's set in a historical time period. I forgot what century, but somewhere in the past. Again, I didn't do my research because this is a little bit ad hoc, ad lib kind of video. So I really wanted to read that one. And then when I saw it was available the other day when I was looking at all these other books, I snatched it up. And then the last one is The Truants by Kate Weinberg. I literally took this out of the library because I was listening to Bethany Rutter and Alice Slater on What Page Are You On podcast. They did a buddy read of it and they had some interesting thoughts. The cover is stunning. It's kind of trees in a yellow mustard colour and then just white snow, and there is a hearse in the middle of it, which I just think is a stunning cover. And they had some thoughts, so, you know, pretending like I was part of the group, I thought I need to read it so that I can go back and listen to that podcast and see if I agree or disagree with some of the things they said about the book. So there's that. Then on NetGalley, I'm currently reading The Burning Girls by C.J. Tudor. Absolutely loving it. I also recently just read The Supper Club, which was another book I'd taken out from the library by Laura Williams. Loved that, so I'll discuss that in a wrap up. I also have, let me scroll. I have My Best Friend's Murder by Polly Phillips to read. Again, some kind of thriller. I have While Paris Sleeps by Ruth Druitt. I have The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. I have The Push by Ashley Audrain. Again, I've heard a lot of buzz about this particular book. The Push seems to be a very buzzy debut at the moment. I believe it's a debut. I don't know, I keep getting debuts stuck in my head. I feel like a lot of things are debuting this year. Then I have Dangerous Women by Hope Adams. His Only Wife by Peace Adzo Mehdi. The Jigsaw Man by Nadine Matheson. Housewife Chronicles by Jennifer Snow. Whereabouts by Jahumpalari. The Art of Death by David Fennell. And I have just downloaded today Madam by Phoebe Wine. So that's it. So obviously with a lot of them going on, I've just not got any spare lifetime to stick any of these physical books on my TBR. So in brief conclusion, I'm going to get on with my electronic ebook reads, and I am going to get on with my library reads as a priority, and then we will reassess in January where my TBRs are going to go in the foreseeable future. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be back very soon with a brand new video. Bye now.